Hey friend, welcome. We are going to do a quick video on how to read an ephemeris and how to use that in your information making when you're trying to track your transits. And so your first question is going to be, what is an ephemeris? So an ephemeris is essentially a timetable of where the planets are every single day of the month, every year, for as far out as you can see, as well as many years before now. Okay. And this information allows you to plan your time. If you're wanting to understand how to align your launches, or when to ask for a raise, or when to move, or when to go on a date, like all this information of the planetary locations can help inform those decisions. Okay. And so I'm not focused necessarily on helping you in this particular video of whether to read the ephemeris for business or for personal life, because regardless, it's the same lesson. So listen in, because we're going to do this and it's going to be super fun. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to find astro.com. This is where I point people to for a free ephemeris. You can find it in other places, but I like this one. When you log into astro.com, you're going to find yourself on this page right behind me, and you're going to click on charts and calculations. And so charts and calculations essentially is the place that will give you the option of, boom, an ephemeris. But we're not going to do 9,000 years. We're going to do a custom. And the only thing you need to do here is please select one. You're going to select the one that says ephemeris for a year, the first one on the list, and then pick the year. I'm going to say 2026. Don't change anything else, and then just click on show me the ephemeris. And so here we are. Here's the ephemeris. And it's going to tell you right here, I'm going to zoom this in, that this is for 00 of universal time. Okay. So when you're reading this, January 1st you know, on that time, at that time of January 1st, that is when the planet of, say, Sun will be in the degree of the following. Okay. Now, if you want to translate that to your time, then you can subscribe to my membership because I have this information in a Google Calendar if you wanted to get a little bit more precise. But honestly, unless you're doing planetary magic, you don't necessarily need to time it to the minute. Okay. If you're looking to create talismans, then yes. If you're really trying to build a perfect astrological timing, this is called electional chart, then yeah, you would. But for what our purposes are, to really get a sense of when planets enter a particular part of our chart, such as a ingress of a planet into a house, for example, an ingress is just simply when a planet enters a sign for the first time in its current transits. Okay, so the way this table is done, so this PDF here is basically a year's worth. So every single month has the following. It has a column for the day, two columns, one at the beginning and one at the end, so you can look at it from both sides. And then the first row gives you the glyphs of the planets, and then each column represents the the transit of that planet day by day by day as it navigates through the zodiac. All right. And so you'll quickly notice the moon changes very quickly. It goes through the signs very, very quickly, whereas the sun, not as fast, Mercury, Venus, and so on. So this whole thing from day one all the way to day 31 will give you the planetary location for each planet. So if we're looking at the sun here, the first one, it says that on January 1st, the sun will be at 10 degrees of Capricorn at 34 minutes and 7 seconds. And at the end of the month, it will be at 11 degrees of Aquarius at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. And if you look across the row, you're going to see the planetary location planetary location for each planet. So the location, the placement zodiacally where it is. And so we have here, yeah, and one other thing that I want to show you is the retrograde. So Taurus, excuse me, not Taurus, but Uranus has been in retrograde before January 1st. And so that's why you see this R right here, 27R 57. And if you notice, it goes lower in numbers. And then when it hits February, Uranus does what is called a direct station. That means it's stopping to go forward and returning back to cover the degrees it's already covered. So here it goes 27, 28, 28, 29, 27, 30, 27, 33, until it's now fully gone through and covered all the degrees it had before and now covering new territory. Okay. And that won't happen until it goes back into, again, into Gemini, because Uranus has already been in Taurus. It's now just retrograding. So that's how you would see the retrograde action for any of the planets. You could see it over here again. There's a D here. So this is the nodes. And then over here we have Jupiter also doing my doggy. You could hear him crying. He's sleeping. Jupiter also has a direct motion that happens here. So almost all of the planets retrograde minus the sun and the moon. So don't be surprised when you see like 4 or 5 of them line up that are retrograde, because it's pretty common. Okay, so here's the ephemeris. So now what do you do with this information? Well, when you're planning your transit, so say your houses, because the houses are the best way to understand where things are. So let me show you in a different way. So another way of understanding the data that I just showed you is this. So this here is my chart. Now, this is I'm trying to move, oops, my screen. It won't let me move it, guys. Well, okay, so here what we have is my chart, and this is a different way of understanding essentially this. So in this format, it's all spelled out to you and decoded as to where they are day by day by day by day by day. But if you're wanting to understand where they're all out in this type of relational space, then the chart is really a great way of looking at it, because then you can see the relationships between them, or in a different way, you could see how they're entering your houses. So this is my chart. My first house right here, 1, is Pisces. My second is Aries. So by looking at this, I know that if I'm paying attention to my money house, anything touching Aries will then activate my money house. So let's look right here, April, but it's actually before April. The sun moves into Aries on March 21st. And at that, it's actually moving in between, right? The hours between the 20th and the 21st is when the sun will shift from Pisces into Aries. Does that make sense? Because there's 24 hours, and we're obviously not covering this, by all the different hours within the day. Now, when you're planning your transits, you're going to want to use something like your notebook. So I use my notebook as well as my Google Sheets, which I'm going to show you just now, um, for planning my time. So when I'm looking at transits, I am looking at my planets and my houses and the relationship between them. I don't obsess on like exactly I can't find it, but just imagine that your transits look like this, right? With months, with dates, with goals. And I map out what would be ideal. I do not stress it. I also take chances. I don't plan out all of my time. Shocker. That's just reality. I need a certain level of flexibility. I know my chart enough, well enough, that I need movement, but I also need a level of consistency. My level of consistency is to show up every single day in front of my computer right now, teaching from about 9 to 5, maybe less, Monday through Friday. And I'm sort of stuck in that like rhythm row, although I do play during the week and I play really hard on the weekend. So I have a steady movement in my day to day, but I also have enough flexibility where I can just do whatever I want. And so knowing your chart helps you to make these decisions. Now, let me show you what I created for myself. This is very similar to what I've created for my members for Cosmic Clarity Lab, where they're going to get a transit tracker for house to house to house. And also, the Unveil Path Circle members will receive the same. So I know that based on my transits, and this is just October to December, like this is a lot, right? I broke it down by quarters, and I know what my houses mean and who the rulers are and what the aspects are. So what type of activity I should be doing when these planets come into certain places in my chart. I don't pay attention to all of my chart. It's impossible. There are 12 pieces, there are 10 things, but I know the general themes. I know the things that I need to be working on. So, for example, anything touching your second house right now, whether that's transiting through the house or a planet activating the ruler of that house or a planet that's in there, that's a lot of conversation for you around values, around what you bring to the table and what you're going to create, your talents, your skills, your income. Okay. And so, whether that is on a personal level or your business, you're going to want to pay attention to those transits. And by the way, check out my blog post and my video on how to do that for yourself, how to find what is important in your chart to track for money. So this is a great way of doing it because now you have the dates, what action needs to happen every single quarter. And I have coded mine. I'm not fully done with it. And I have for the, yes, this is the one that I want to show you all. This here is a freebie that I'm working on. So if you join my list, you'll definitely get access to it. Don't know if I'll have it ready in time for this video, but I want to show it to you really quickly. So in this, what you'll do is you're going to map out your houses. You're going to say, what's in my first? What's in my second? It will help understand the rest of what you're doing, right? So how to use this file. It's going to walk you through. AstroSeek is one place because it has the current day chart really easy. But if you know how to read an ephemeris, then just go to the ephemeris and you're going to note what is happening each day, right? Look up of what is happening for that day and then write it down. Today, the planet is in this. It's in this sign and it's transiting my blah, 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 my reflection, what I experienced, what triggered this feeling, and on. And you can also start building reflections for your houses. Like on this day, this happened, or this is what I noticed. So, the best thing for you to do at this time when you're using the ephemeris, because if you're getting into it, then you must somehow, I think, start tracking your transits. Write down what you've noticed. If you're just beginning, this is a moment of just pure discovery and honestly of play. Later comes the precision. So use this decoding the transits of what is happening in the ephemeris world to understand just on the realm of your day to day of like, this occurred. This is happening. Oh, okay. And then start planning towards it. So, my friend, I hope this has been useful and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.